Oh, Foxy, it's your birthday. Not for real, just for play. This is Cree Summer, and Moana Nui will be right back.
Can you, well, I was just going to ask if you could just talk about a convention like Dragon Con and the fact that it incorporates wrestling into a pop culture convention like this and what that means to wrestling in general. And
Well, I wanted to congratulate Dragon Con for taking that step, for doing that. A lot of people, that I went to a lot of conventions and a lot of Comic Cons, and they didn't want to have nothing to do with wrestling. So, and I also want to thank them for, giving me the opportunity to be a part of it. I first started coming to the Dragon Con Wrestling, just the event that they were having downstairs, but somebody thought highly of me, and next thing I know, I'm with the real deal, the Dragon Con people, so thank you guys very much. And I think it means a lot. Wrestling has been my life, 40 years, well, about 42 years I think I've been involved, still working, still involved, so God is good. So I think every opportunity that you get a chance to promote more wrestling, I think is good. We got a lot of it now. Jesus Christ! I mean, everywhere you look, it's wrestling. So it must be doing something. Right. So that's kind of how I feel about it. And like I said, I'd like to thank Dragon Con again. I don't think they made a bad choice by involving wrestling. I think it's a good thing, and hopefully not only me, but we can get more talent to come in.
James with Moana Nui podcast. I have to ask this question. I'm pretty sure it's been asked numerous times. When you were general manager on SmackDown, you would often come out wrestlers who didn't toe the line or rubbed you the wrong way. You would let them know that they had to go one-on-one with The Undertaker. What was the genesis of that? How did that come about to that line, that catchphrase, and the whole story behind it?
All right. One-on-one with The Undertaker.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Here's how that come about. Just me being creative and learning from Vince McMahon. I had the opportunity, God bless me, to work close to him. I don't know how I got there, but I got there. But I worked real close to him. In fact, I just went to his 80th birthday party. He invited me to this past Saturday night. I was there. One day, Vince is real. He's real strict, okay? So somebody that went out and they cut a promo on TV and they introduced somebody, but anyway, they come back and Vince was talking to him and he was telling them he wanted more energy. When you introduce somebody, God damn it, I want to hear that, I want to feel that, and that's him, you know what I mean? Yes. And so, but they didn't see me. They didn't know I was listening to that, but I heard that. And so when I went out, I had to do something with Taker that night. So when I went out to introduce Taker about the one-on-one with Taker, I remembered him saying, give me some energy on that. And I remember that's how I come up with one-on-one with The Undertaker. And as I walked back, Vince was very good. If you did something wrong, he'd stop you immediately. Right. If you didn't do nothing wrong, he'd give you thumbs up and you keep right on walking. So he gave me thumbs up on that, I passed right by him and we kept on walking, but that's how The Undertaker started.
Okay.
I'll tell you something you really would like to know, the dance. Here's how the dance started. My grandson, we bought him a walker. And we put him in this walker. We was trying to teach him how to walk. Yes. Well, every time we put him in it, this is all he would do. Okay. Nice. So back then, we was taping SmackDown on Tuesday night, right, and we would air on Friday night. Mm-hmm. But I went to TV and started doing the dance because of my grandson. And when I'd go back home on Friday night and watch the show, I'd tell him, look, I'm doing your dance. And it was just between me and him. So one day, I went to TV, I think maybe the week after that, maybe a couple of weeks after that. So they playing my music and I get ready to walk out. And Vince is screaming at me, do that dance, do that dance. And I'm looking around, what dance? And he starts doing it.
Wow.
And that's nice. That's how the dance comes.
Awesome. Mike?
Trey with Daddy Mojo. How far, the show on Netflix, the one that breaks kayfabe down, I'm not a fan of the person. Kayfabe, thank you. How far out do storylines get planned from the backside?
Maybe weeks, couple of weeks at a time, but that doesn't really mean nothing because I've seen things change just like that. they've had matches in the ring, and they told one guy that he's going to win, but Vince may just look at it and change his mind. And he says, no, I don't want him to win. And he'll tell the referee on the headset, he'd tell the other guy he's not going over, tell that guy he's winning. So now everything changes right there while they're in the ring. But that's what Vince, that's what he always tests you to see if you're on your toes.
Is that as a form of punishment, or just to switch things up?
That's just him. Mm-hmm. Okay, not punishment. He may have thought in his heart, in his mind, that no, I don't think I need to let him win. Let's draw this out a little bit further. Let's carry the story a little longer. So things come to him like that. You know what I mean? And so if he feels like he needs to change it, he'll change it right on the spot.
Matt Jenkins, Moana Nui podcast. With some of what we get to see on screen, we get to see the beefs, the rivalries, the relationships. One thing that I've kind of always wondered was, and I'm not asking for any names or anything like that, but are some of those on-screen beefs that we see actually those guys don't like each other? And the ones who actually don't like each other, does that cause like just issues with storylines getting carried out?
Well, sometimes, and that's true. Sometimes those beefs are really real. They're not scripted or not written. But always those are the best ones because that's real. Yeah. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to act like you're that guy. You are that guy. And I'll tell you, because I've been when I first started refereeing, back in the day, back old school, that's how guys settle a lot of their beefs, or in the ring. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was in the ring with Steve, Dr. Dev Williams, and Road Warrior Hawk. God rest their souls, they're gone. And I remember Hawk, he hit Doc. And Doc looked at him, he said, oh, okay. And so Doc grabs me, and he puts me in the corner, and he says to me, you stay right there, and you don't move. Oh. And the next thing I know, those two were just beating each other down. I mean, and finally, they settled down a little bit. We got back into the match, finally got to 1, 2, 3. But after they got out of the ring, there was another room right there. And they both went in that room, locked that door, and they started beating each other up again until they got tired of whooping each other, and then they come on out of the ring.
Oh, wow.
Swear, true story, man.
Oh, wow.
I seen Kurt Angle, Lady Guerrero, they started in the ring, but soon as they got finished, soon as they got back, they went right at it right behind stage. I saw that fight. So some of them are pretty intense. And some of the promos, a lot of times, the guys say things that you can get away with it now, right, that you really mean. Yeah.
You were quick to speak about Hulk Hogan's passing. Got a little flack for it, but you were quick to do that.
I didn't get no flack for it.
Well, I saw some people who took a little issue with it, but
I didn't say nothing detrimental about it. Let me tell you, here's the true thing. Wednesday, the day Hulk Hogan died, I swear, I don't know how this come about, but that morning I called Jimmy Hart. And the reason I called Jimmy Hart is I think me and Mac Davis was talking on my podcast about something. And I said, well, no, we was talking about Bubba, the Love Sponge guy, and all this stuff he was saying about Hogan. I said, well, is it true, Jimmy? What is going on? And Jimmy said, well, I don't know, we don't talk about it. But anyway, so me and Jimmy had a conversation. I said to Jimmy, I said, just let Hope know. Hey, tell him I love him, man. I wish him a speedy recovery. Get well. Jimmy said, okay, no problem, Cole. You know he loves you. He always want to know where the player at. And I hung up. And about 20 minutes after that, Jimmy called me back. He was dead. Now, the only thing I said is that Hogan, I know they talked about the racism. Everybody racist. I'm a racist. There are black people and white people that I don't like. But when it causes problem is when you add evil to racism. That's when it becomes a problem, when you want to destroy somebody's career or hurt somebody in a way that just because of the color of their skin. That's racism with evil. But everybody's racist, so I don't know what the big problem is. But anyway, I didn't ever have no problem with Hogan. Hogan treated me, like I was his son or something. I never will forget this. This is a true story too. I rode on Vince's plane one night from, I forget where we were, but we landed in Love Field in Dallas. When I got off the plane, I went to Vince's limo to ride to go to the TV hotel. While I was sitting in the limo waiting on Vince, Hogan comes and gets in the car. I wasn't even expecting Hogan. I didn't know nothing about it. So by me riding in the car with Hogan and Vince, they were saying something that I know, things that I know I wasn't supposed to hear. But they were letting me know, you're okay. Because I look at this, I look at what people do that they don't have to do. That tells me I can believe you. Because like Jerry Briscoe told me one time, he walked up to me, he said, Teddy Long, and I'll use foul language. He said, Teddy Long, he said, the boss loves you. Don't fuck this up. Those were his words. Okay, he didn't have to tell me that. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to say one word to me. So I let him know when I went in the Hall of Fame. He's the first guy I went to. I said, Jerry, I didn't fuck this up. True story.
You wore so many hats over the years, from manager to referee, on-screen authority figure. What was the best time as far as any of those 3 stints that you've had? And what did that mean to you, being in the industry still to this day, still active?
Well, I just have to give my thanks to God, man. That's all I can do. I've been able, I didn't even know what I had. Vince showed me what I had. Mm-hmm. I went to Providence, Rhode Island. That was the first time I walked out on Vince's TV. They called me back because they had a meeting and they was looking for a manager. And Sergeant Slaughter, Earl Hebner, and somebody else. I know it was Slaughter and Earl Hebner. They brought up my name and they told Vince. Well, they called me back and I went back to TV, Providence, Rhode Island. I walked out that first night on Vince's TV with D'Lo Brown. I cut this promo on Tommy Dreamer. I come back in the Gorilla. Vince McMahon looked at me. He said to me, he said, they wasted you down south. Mm-hmm. He said, they really wasted you. The next thing he said to me, he said, I can't believe I've had you right here under my nose all this time. Now, this is what that man said.
Right.
So I always knew that I owed everything to him. So whenever he gave me something, I made sure that I gave it 100% because I couldn't let him down. Because there were people wanting me to fail, so they could tell him, well, I told you, Vince, what we tell you. Right. I know how this goes. Okay, so I was just happy to pull off everything. The stuff with Vicky Guerrero that I was doing, yes. Vince wrote all that. Okay. That was his idea. The stuff with me and Taker where he kidnapped me, I'm in the coffin, yes. He wrote all that, okay? The next thing he wrote is the White Boy Challenge, the stuff that I was doing. That was all his stuff. And what I didn't understand is that what he understood is that what he knew, mm-hmm. the way I was treated down south. Right. So why not give that to the guy that it happened to, who could play the part better than me? Right. But I knew I was playing a part. I didn't let that go to my head, even though I was having fun because I was getting back at something. But right. I also understood this is my job. This is what they want me to do, act up, but I won't. Now I understand this very well. Because I cut this promo, if you can remember it. Jerry Lawler was talking to me or yes. something. I looked at him and I said, Memphis, Tennessee, Jerry Lawler, you might think you're a king to all these people here, but just to me, you're another cracker with a crown. Yes. Vince wrote that.
I remember that promo.
Those weren't my words, but he knew.
He knew, yeah.
And you remember the time Bob Holly come around and I
yes.
slapped him?
Yes.
And I started yelling and screaming, I done slapped a cracker, tell him. but I understood TV is entertainment. Yes. I started getting it together. Okay, I got this. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Else?
Is there a secret to a manager or a wrestler cutting a good promo? Some magic sauce?
Well, it wouldn't so much be a secret. I mean, some guys are gifted. They have a talent to talk. Some guys are not gifted. That's why sometimes you see wrestlers with managers. They're great guys in the ring, but they can't talk. That was my role with Butch Reed and Ron Simmons. Not that they couldn't talk, don't get me wrong, but they didn't have that what I had, the swag and the talking mess, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I didn't know it until I found out, but that's why I was such a good manager, because I could deliver a good promo. I delivered, and then they'd finish you off in the ring. So that you just got to really know what you're doing. You got to become two people. Once you step into the arena that day to go to work, you're in the world of wrestling. You ain't out here no more. And that's how you have to become.
As you look back on your career, and this could be a moment you've had in the ring, on camera, off camera, behind the scenes, is there any aspect of your career that if you were to look back on and you'd be like, that was my favorite part of the business?
My favorite part of the business when I had a chance to do the white boy challenge.
Nice.
Transitioning from what you've done career-wise, wrestling, into podcasting. People that get into podcasting, maybe they're an actor, they get into podcasting. I come from a radio background, transitioning to podcasting. There is a difference. There's a thing that you have to learn, unlearn. What are some of the things that you had to learn to get into podcasting or unlearn?
Well, a lot of people didn't know this. I have a background in radio. I was a disc jockey before I got involved in wrestling. I was at WOKJ, Jackson, Mississippi. I worked at WJLD and WENN, Birmingham, Alabama. I was born and raised in Birmingham. And I did a little bit of work at WDIA in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, transitioning into podcasting, I don't really know nothing about podcasting. You know how I got into podcasting? This guy that I'm with named Mac Davis, he would always come around to the arenas, you know what I mean? He'd bring his camera with him and his little stuff, and he'd try to get little interviews with guys, and some guys, they would shun him, push him away, and so I just kept watching him, and so one day I just walked up to him, I said, "What do you do?" And he was explaining to me, he said, "Well, I'm trying to start a little podcast, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Well," he said, "I see you try to talk to the guys." I said, "They all try." I said, "I'll tell you what you do." I said, "Tell me what I need to do, let me help you." I said, "I'll help you, whatever you need to do." And that's how I got started in podcasting. Now, after I helped Mac a little bit and we got to rolling a little bit, then Sports Keto got in touch with me, and then they called me about doing the podcast that I do with them. But that's how I got in the bar. I never really even thought about it. I just saw Mac, and he's just struggling all the time. And I'm like, man, if I can do something to help you, let me help you. So that's how that got started. And so we're doing pretty good now. We just went live with it. So, I understand now we got to get numbers, we got to climb. So, but we on the right track. And I'm just glad I could help him. Such a nice guy. As
you said earlier, wrestling is everywhere. There are literally thousands, if not millions, of sound bites and clips of wrestlers talking about their experiences. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. I believe it was Ron Simmons talking about being on the road when him and Bradshaw were the APA, and a road trip with you, as a matter of fact.
I rode with him all the time.
Yeah, he did mention that. He didn't know it in great detail, but I do remember laughing so hard that I fell out of my chair with this one incident. You rode with them all the time. Was there anyone else you rode with that you had a blast with? Just
Godfather.
Somehow I'm not surprised by that, because Godfather has a lot to say too.
Godfather, that's a great car to ride in.
Yeah.
And you relax and had a great time.
Yes.
After a hard day's work, and because back then, you're driving all 200, 300 miles a night on the road, man.
Right.
It's rough. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Anybody else besides those three? Or?
Mike Kyoto, one of the referees there. Me and Mike started riding together. He was great to ride with. You have to get somebody, you can, kind of get along with, you know what I mean? Because a lot of guys have different ways of doing things. Some guys get up in the morning, go to the gym. That's what I did. A lot of guys don't go. So then, so you got to go back, get them, wait on them to work. It's just, I really started riding by myself a lot, but after a while, I rode with Kyoto. Mm-hmm. I rode with Kane a little bit. Kane was real strange. He didn't ride with anybody. He was always a loner. He didn't ride with nobody. So if you got a chance to ride with him, I'm telling you, that was a feather in your hat.
Okay.
And he would always, because he knew I'd like to go to the gym, and I never would forget one time we was overseas somewhere, and we had to get up and get a flight about 9. So we got up at 5 o'clock that morning, and there was a gym in this hotel, and we went to this gym and worked out. But he woke me up and made sure that I went to that gym with him that morning, because I wouldn't have got up. But he was a guy I rode with that was great. Tony Atlas and Boogie Man. Mm-hmm. I rode with those two. I think that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll defer.
Well, you mentioned Kane riding with him. I interviewed him a few years ago, and this is kind of going back to the question about Dragon Con. He equated professional wrestlers to being real-life superheroes. Colorful, athletic, being able to do things other people really can't do. Maybe they think that they can do.
Right. It's an illusion.
And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because that was a great analogy. And you come to a convention like this, and obviously it makes sense that it fits for the audience that's attending.
Well, I think now is just tell people the truth. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you know, you couldn't because that's how you made a living. You know, that's how you fed your family. But now things have gotten a lot better. I mean, 100 times better. So just tell people the truth. And like I said, some people now are smart enough to see through it. Then some people know and don't really care. You know what I mean? So this is their entertainment. This is what they're going to do. So I don't care what you tell them. I never will forget one time, me and Jimmy Valiant, Boogie Woogie Man, we was Waterloo, Iowa, or somewhere we were somewhere. But anyway, we were standing in this locker room and look, boy, I think he's about maybe 15, 16 years old. So he walks right up to us and he says, hey, Boogie Man, he says, wrestling's fake, ain't it? And Boogie looked at him, yeah. And he looked right back at Boogie and said, no, it's not. so I'm just saying, man, yeah, people are going to believe what they want to believe, so leave them alone. If they're having a great time, leave them alone.
For the longest time, we didn't know who the referees were in the ring. We knew they were just figures in the ring, mitigating what was happening in the ring. Of course, once we reach a certain age watching wrestling, depending on how old we are, we can see the earpiece, so we know there's communication with the back.
We never had, the earpieces was not really back in the day.
Not back in the day, no. So I'm looking at, like, because for me, the three names that stand out, you obviously, but Earl Hebner, Nick Patrick, for obvious reasons, because of what happened on screen in those infamous matches now. And now, again, because wrestling's so big, a lot of referees are known by name because of their social media following and everything else like that. Like we know about Daphne LaShawn currently right now on both SmackDown and Raw. How do you see that? What do you think of that evolution from the referees just being, I would say, a background character to the action in the ring to now, not so much being the forefront character, but being someone that the fans actually look forward to, like, oh, if this referee is out here refereeing this match, we know this is going to be a banger of a match.
Well, the referee has to establish that himself. You know what I mean? He has to make you believe he's better than the other refs, or he's going to do a better job than the other ref. The reason I think back in the day the referees didn't get a lot of credit or nothing, because referees to the promoters, they didn't draw money.
Oh.
So they didn't care about nothing but somebody that drew money.
Okay.
So I remember one time, I know Jim Crockett, no, it was J.J. Dillon. I remember when I started refereeing one time. I remember one time he told me the only thing you need to worry about is keep your butt out of the camera. That means watch what I'm doing and
Right.
stay out of the camera. I remember him telling me that. So I'm just saying they didn't care about him. Referee was just somebody they could replace at any time. That's how I got to be a referee. One night I was putting the ring up, taking the ring down. We was at Cobb Civic Center in Marietta. Around 7 o'clock, they didn't have no referee. Louise Manning, the promoter, she come to me, she said, Teddy Long, you're going to have to referee tonight. I said, I don't know anything about it, Louise. She said, we're going to sit out, get you a shirt, don't worry, the guys will talk to you. That was my first match, Ron Bass and Black Bart. They was in a Texas death match. Now, I'm not smart to the business, I don't know. They're gigging, they're bleeding all over the place. They scared me so bad I jumped out of the ring and left them.
Oh.
I could hear the ring announcer screaming, get back in the ring, Teddy Long, get back in the ring. I'll never forget, I heard Ron Bass said he told Black Bart, did you just see what the referee did? Because they scared me, I jumped out. They're bleeding all over the place.
Right.
And then finally I get back in the ring and I'm still nervous because it's my first match, so I'm trying to work with them. And the thing saved me that night was when the match was about to come to an end, Charlie McGowan, God rest his soul, he rang the bell too quick. He screwed the finish up.
Oh.
So they got so mad at him till they forgot about me.
It's a hell of a first match to referee.
Yeah. But they had no ref, so they threw me right in there. But that's how I started.
Yeah, but someone doing that for the first time, I understand your reaction. Because blading is a thing, right?
Bleeding all over the place. I don't know. You know,
I'd have the same reaction. Like your first time, like, okay, I got this. Then they're bleeding. Like, oh no, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
So.
Real quick, Teddy, how much longer do you want to do this?
Well, what time we got?
7, 8, 5, 55. 55.
5:55. The room is yours for however you want to be.
I'll give you 5 minutes. I can get out at 6. I can get home.
Okay.
That good? Is that good, you guys? That good for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Catchphrases, they're up to the person. Has a catchphrase ever been planned and didn't take water?
I don't know, unless it must have been somebody else that might have had something, and maybe Vince didn't like it and didn't want him to say that, but I don't know. I don't remember not one working. But like I said, a lot of things happen like that. Vince may hear it and never even gets to air. You know, if it aired, then he's like, no, don't say that no more. But basically what you say now is basically written anyway. So if you screw up, you have no reason to, because it's on paper.
Some wrestlers, though, would certainly have carte blanche to say anything they want. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
I had that. John Laurinaitis walked up to me one time, and he didn't know that I didn't know I had it, but he walked up to me one time because he thought I didn't know what the carte blanche was. And he said to me, he says, Teddy Long, you got the carte blanche. But I didn't let him know I knew. I looked back at him and I said, what's the carte blanche? What's that? And he walked away. But I know what the carte blanche meant. It means you can't bother me.
You mentioned earlier your career in radio, working as a DJ at a number of stations. Had you not gotten the opportunity to work in wrestling, do you think you would have stayed working in radio, or was there something else you had as a potential career that you looked at?
Brother, I'm going to tell you, my life, God has blessed me. The reason I got out of radio is because I got into drugs.
Gotcha.
Alcohol, well, a little bit of alcohol, but I was a heroin addict, okay? And that's how I drifted away from my career in radio. I think I'd have probably had a great career in radio because I had went to several radio stations and done real well. But I got into drugs, got on heroin, just that was it. So finally, the way I got into wrestling is I went to jail here in Atlanta. And I was on heroin, I was hooked on heroin. The first time I got there, you know, when first time you go to jail, the first thing you do is tell God, please let me out, I ain't gonna do it no more, Jesus. Just, Lord, if you just let me go home this time, I won't do it. Well, he did that for me. He let me go home. But I didn't go home. I went straight back to the drug house. So then he locked me back up. I went back to jail. So, but it come to me that night. I said, I got it. I lied to God. So whatever you want to do to me, Lord, I'm ready to take my punishment. But he let me out. Then I got out and I went to like a halfway house, but I was done. He knew I was through because I made up my mind then. Because I said if I got to go to serve time, I'll go because I lied to God. To me, you don't lie to God.
Right.
I believe in God. So, and that's why I'm sitting here today. I'm 77 years old, gentlemen. I stay in the gym. I've been doing it for over 20-some years. Okay, so it's a drug to me. I have to go. If I don't have to go, I don't feel good.
Gotcha.
So take a look at me. This is what God done done. I'm 77 years old, my man. Okay? So, and I don't mind telling you, because numbers are going to come. That don't mean you got to look like that number. That don't mean you got to feel like that number. So I don't tell people I'm old. I'm seasoned. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up right there.
Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys very much, man.
Thank you.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will. So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, he was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.